So here it is, the December version, Chapter 2 of our Equinox EV and ICE gas-powered shootout. Thanks for joining me here again on EV Island. My name is Todd, and we're going to be looking at the cost of operating our electronic vehicle, the Equinox EV, compared to the equivalent ICE vehicle and a few other comparative vehicles just to see what the value proposition is. I'm going to start with a little review here and show you the methodology that we're using for our comparison. We're starting with an Equinox EV, the VV that I bought in October, and we're going to be looking at how much electricity it burns compared to the Equinox EV as a comparable vehicle, a nice competitor, and find out how much the different cost of that is. But if you look at the statistics comparing the Equinox EV and the ICE EV, you'll find that the only thing they share is a name. They are two completely different vehicles. The Equinox EV is a 300 horsepower vehicle that is 9 inches longer than its ICE competitor. So it's a fair bit bigger vehicle. A more comparable vehicle would be in Chevy's lineup a Blazer, which you'll find is within an inch or so of its length and has roughly the same horsepower, a 300 horsepower V6 engine that's motoring that vehicle. I'm also going to be comparing my trusty old Dodge Ram 1500. It is the reason I am in the EV world. Loved the vehicle. It loved my wallet more. So we're going to be comparing it because that's my comparison. Personally, what I was spending on fuel to keep myself moving along in my Dodge Ram versus what I'm spending now in my Equinox EV. So here we are at the starting line. If I had been driving an Equinox ICE, I would have spent an extra $256 last month in order to operate that vehicle. If I'd still been in my Ram 1500, I would have burnt $588 more worth of my money operating an ICE vehicle. And if I had been in an equivalent Blazer, the rough size and horsepower equivalent to the Equinox EV, I would have burnt an extra $362. So that's our starting point for this month. Now we traveled 2,754 kilometers this month at an average cost of $1.34 a liter in Nova Scotia. Again, we're going to break this down on the electricity side between home charging and fast charging on the road. So in the month of December, I spent $141 charging at home at roughly 21 cents per kilowatt hour inclusive of taxes. On the road at DC fast chargers in a couple of trips to Halifax from Sydney, about a 4 or 5 hour trip either way, I did spend $70.43. So my total consumption last month was 2,754 kilometers and $211.44 worth of electricity. Now, if you're making a comparison to the previous month, you may notice that I traveled fewer kilometers in December, and I'm actually paying more money for my travel. My travel cost, my electricity cost is more in the month of December. You might ask, why is that? There's a number of variables here that I can't exactly account for. Basically, there's too many variables. I can't make that precise a calculation. What I mean by that is EVs do lose range when it's cold. The month of November is warmer than the month of December, so I'm getting less range out of my vehicle. I'm taking a hit because of the weather. And I don't really know exactly what mix of cost traveling on the road was. Some EV chargers in Nova Scotia on the road charge you 45 cents a kilowatt hour. Some charge you 59, some charge you 69 cents. So I didn't keep track of the actual individual charges and what their rates were. I probably could go back and dig that out, but for this comparison, I don't think it's material. I think we're fine without that level of information. I don't see that as providing a benefit in way of comparing ICE vehicles to EV. The net effect of what you're going to pay is the net effect of what you're going to pay. So if I look at my first comparative vehicle, the Equinox ICE, at $1.34 a liter and 9.6 liters per 100 kilometers, I would have burned $355.06. Meaning that in the month of December, I saved $143 operating an electric vehicle. And my total for the 2 months so far, my yearly total is a savings of a little over $400. Now, if I go back to the gas guzzler, my old nemesis, the Ram 1500, what I've got is a $625 fuel bill, saving me $414 and netting me for the year so far $1,003 to the good. So at $1,003 with where I was sitting previously, I more than eclipsed the $700 expense of installing my level 2 charger at home. So I'm well to the good at this point. And if I make what I call the fair comparison, comparing the Equinox EV to traveling in a Blazer, a V6 Blazer with an equivalent amount of horsepower and a much more equivalent level of size and space compared to the Equinox EV, I would have spent $441.50. Meaning I saved $230 comparatively by operating my Equinox EV. And my year to date so far on the Blazer is $592.98 that I've saved. Now you might also make an argument that I've included, or I am building in, the penalty for the cold weather and the winter driving into my electric cost. That's because it's there. I was able to count it. My cost for the regular vehicles, the ICE vehicles, is purely a calculated cost. And I'm leaving it at what is the equivalent best performance published by the EPA and Transport Canada. So I'm not accounting for a hit to performance for the ICE vehicles due to weather. It's pretty fairly realized or admitted that when you're operating a gas car in the winter, you're getting higher levels of fuel consumption due to the weather, due to resistance, due to snow conditions, and also due to a difference in the fuel. By December, we've switched over to winter fuel. For those of you in the south, you may not know that we have winter fuel. Maybe you've got some summer fuel too, I don't know. But we've got summer and winter fuel here in Canada. The winter and fuel contains more additives in order to prevent icing and water and stuff like that. So the net effect is that there's actually less energy in the gasoline in the winter than there is in the summer. So I'm definitely not getting 11.9 liters per 100 kilometers out of a Blazer, or 9.6 liters per 100 kilometers out of a gas-powered Equinox. Those arguments are there. They are real. They are not included in this calculation. So there we have it. December, Chapter 2. Our equivalent differences, saving $400 so far over an ICE version of the Equinox, saving $1,003 over my old friend, my Dodge Ram 1500, and saving $592 over what would be an equivalent size vehicle, the Blazer. So we can see so far in the performance that I am saving some money. A lot of people don't, for a lot of reasons, that you really do save money driving an EV. I would challenge them to pick holes or find an error in what I'm doing. Granted, not perfect. There's a lot of questions about the process that I'm going through here. But I think at the end of the day, it's fair. It's a fair comparison. Willing to discuss it down in the comments. If you have any questions about this, if you think that this is not real, vent your spleen in the comments. I'm more than happy to have the discussion. If you like what I'm doing here, if you want to keep me going for the next 10 months or so, so we can finish the year out, down below, you're going to find a like button. Hit it. You're going to find a subscribe button. You probably should hit that too. It's going to encourage me to keep this up. And if you've got any curiosity about operating an EV at all, EV Island is where you want to be, because I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep the calculation. I'm going to be running the numbers for you. And at the end of the year, we're going to come up with a grand total saving operating an electric vehicle over an equivalent ICE counterpart.